Cop Talk, presented by the Strong Blue Line Foundation and powered by Moose Ridge Coffee in Snake River Landing, Idaho Falls. Welcome to the podcast, where former San Antonio police officer, author, and pastor Tim Rupp walks you through real-life scenarios involving our police officers and digs into the depths of facts and opinions on each case. This is Cop Talk, and it starts now.
Hi, and welcome to Cop Talk, the radio show and podcast of the Strong Blue Line. I'm Tim Rupp, and joining me is my friend and operations manager for the Rev.FM, Mr. Gary Austin. Hello, Gary. How you doing, man?
Doing good, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing very well, otherwise known as Solomon, from what I understand. You know, some
You
people
are.
call you Solomon.
Oh.
No, you are, man. You got the beard and everything, man.
Oh, goodness.
You know, because I guess it was a week or two ago, something like that. We were having our devotions, and you said something, and I wrote it down. Now, I didn't get it exactly right, but you said that you have learned that you don't have time to comment on every error you see. Mm-hmm. Something like that. Yeah. That's kind of what you said. And I thought, I really, Gary, that's like, you know what? That's wisdom. That's from, you don't have to correct everything. Mm-mm. I think maybe that's what you said. You don't have to correct every time something,
Every wrong.
You don't have to correct every wrong. That's it. That's it, and because when you do that, you're just like, who do you think you are, Mr. Righteous, correcting everything? It's just, there's some things you just let go. Mm-hmm. There's other things, and we were talking about this in devotions, that there are some things that need to be called out. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Things, if I walked out of here and somebody cut me off and I flipped them off and cussed them out, Gary, you need to talk to me.
Right? There's a problem.
You need to say, Tim, I need to talk to you about that, because of my position and what, that would be something serious for me to talk. But, as we go through life, if you're walking down and you see somebody do that same thing, you don't even know the guy or whatever, you don't need to go over there and correct everything. No. No need to do that. But anyways, I thought that was good wisdom. Anyways, that has nothing to do with today. Actually, kind of does. We're going to talk about bad dads.
Ooh.
Bad dads.
Good topic.
And here we are, July 22nd. 1 month ago, I think it was the 21st, June 21st. I think that's when it was. Father's Day.
Oh, yeah.
So a month later, we had Father's Day, honored fathers. Now we're talking about bad dads.
Okay.
And I don't mean bad like, oh, man, your dad's so bad. I mean, your dad's bad.
Wow.
Anyways, we're going to talk about that. But before we do, we're going to honor the officers who were slain in the line of duty on this day, July 22nd. And, Gary, I've got Private Thomas Martin out of Charleston Police Department in South Carolina. End of watch Friday, July 22nd, 1870. So this is back when the West was young.
Yes.
Private Martin was called to quell a disturbance among a group of soldiers. The soldiers were white and Private Martin was black. He first encouraged them to be quiet, but they just ignored his request. As Private Martin began to call for other officers with a signal rap, and I thought that was kind of unusual. What is a signal rap? You know what a signal rap is?
I have no idea.
It's a sound like a drum. Now think of that. This is 1870, and so back then, like during a Civil War, if they wanted to signal their troops to do something, the drummer would tap a certain thing. Oh. So it wasn't like they had communications. So when you heard the bugler bugle something or a drummer tap something, you knew that was a signal for you to do something.
I'll be done.
So police, I guess, at that time, back then, they had certain signal taps. They would tap. I'm not sure what they would tap or what they would do, but they would signal for other officers to come and help them out.
Oh, that is cool.
When the soldiers heard this, one of the soldiers shot him in the chest, causing a fatal wound. So he calls for help, and they just shoot him and kill him right there. Responding officers chased the group of soldiers to the main gate at the Citadel. Now remember, this is in Charleston, South Carolina. This was below the Mason-Dixon line, and this was a black police officer that they shot and killed. So the group was arrested, and they were charged with murder. One other officer suffered a wound to his leg when he was shot. No further information is available on Private Thomas Martin.
That is an interesting story.
Yeah, we don't know what happened to the soldiers. Anyways. What do you have there, Gary?
This is DeSoto County Sheriff's Office out of Mississippi. End of watch on Wednesday, July 22nd, 2020. So in the COVID time.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But Deputy Nichols was attempting to save his son from a rip current. This was in Florida. And he was able to get his son to safety, but was swept right back away from shore. His body was recovered a short time later. He was 33 years old, served with the DeSoto County Sheriff's Office for 10 years, and served as the agency's search and rescue director. Survived by his wife and 2 children. You ever been in a rip current?
In Florida, when we lived in Florida for a few years, we go out in the ocean. I was a teenage kid. Of course, I went to the ocean, tried my hand at surfing and all that stuff. Wasn't ever good at surfing, but did all that stuff. And I'd been pulled, when the water goes back, I'd been pulled, back out a little bit. Nothing like I was pulled underneath. But the fact of the matter is, man, the water is powerful.
It is.
And it takes you. And have you ever been in a rip current?
I've never been in a rip current. I've seen, several videos about what you should try to do or what but one thing I think that I've heard over and over, it doesn't matter how good of a swimmer you are, you're fighting it. It is so powerful, you said, that it's just one of those things.
It is. The scariest time that I was in water, and I grew up swimming and stuff. I got certified as a scuba diver when I was a teenager. I never did dive after I got my certification, but I love water, snorkeling and stuff, all that kind of stuff. And but the most frightening time is when we were in the Yellowstone River. We were whitewater rafting. Emily, my youngest, was like 9 years old at the time. She was up front with me. There were only 5 adults, including the guide, in the raft. When the big raft, there were only, the guide, she was on the back, and then 4 of us, my wife and my friend and his wife and Emily. And that was it.
Wow.
It was good. And we were going through some Cat 5. This was the big one.
Yeah.
And she tells us to paddle one way, forward or backwards, and we would do what she said. Well, she made a mistake and told us to go the wrong way.
Oh, my goodness.
It caused the raft to come completely up. And I was thinking, this isn't right. And we were all ejected out of it. It turned the raft completely over. And we were all, and of course, my first thought was Emily.
Yeah.
And I remember in the water, and I'm looking underwater, and I see right in front of me Emily. So I grab her, and of course, we bob to the top. We had life vest on.
Yeah. We
bob to the top, and she looks at me, and she goes, "Where's Mommy?" And I said, "Mommy's." I didn't even know where. I said, "That's okay, Mommy. It'll be all right. Be all right." And I looked over, and we were able to get to shore, and Sherry was next to the raft, and our guide, she was scared to death. I can't get out. She was all panicky.
Oh my
and
goodness.
Sherry talked to her, said, well, she was like 23 years old, it was her first time guiding by herself.
Oh.
And she just, and she's responsible for us, and so she was just losing it. And Sherry kind of calmed her and talked her down. Other rafts there, they were able to get us all pulled to the side, and we got back up and went on our way. And
that is scary.
Thank the Lord, nobody was injured.
Yeah.
Nobody drowned or anything. But when you're in the waters, you got to do what the water says. You just got to go with it and try to go down, don't wear yourself out, and then keep your head above water, and then go to the side somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Anyways, hey Gary, again, we're not even talking about what we're supposed to be talking about.
No.
Okay. So we're going to talk about bad dads.
Okay.
Bad dads. And we're going to look at this. We'll look at this first one here. We may not have time to get the second one, but I want to look at this one about the dog. And this is kind of crazy. They both are, but this one, okay, so I'm going to start reading this story. And this comes out of Law Enforcement Today from June 30th, so last month. Law Enforcement Today, Jenna Curran. And the title of it is, "Police Say Dog Was the Motive Behind Deadly Beating." In May of 2024, Bradley Cole and his wife were at the Ashley Inns and Suites celebrating their 37th wedding anniversary when Cole left his room to take his dog for a walk on the grounds. Now Mr. Cole's in his 60s. Okay, and his wife waited in the room, and then there's this guy, and his name is Roland, and Roland's last name is Evans/Freak. That's his name.
Okay.
And Roland was smoking a cigarette, the complaint that says, and when Roland saw Mr. Cole and his dog, he approached him and demanded that he surrender his dog. Cole refused to give up his dog, and Roland viciously attacked him. Roland's in his 30s or so, just to give you an idea how old he is. Roland allegedly punched, kicked, and kneed Cole for several minutes, then left the scene of the attack with Cole's dog, according to the complaint. He allegedly returned several minutes later and continued the assault.
Man.
Bradley Cole suffered injuries so severe that his face was covered in blood, severely swollen, and significantly deformed and discolored. Bradley Cole's right ear was severed down to the center, and his eyelids were bulging out of his face. Bystanders who saw the alleged attack grabbed Roland and held him down for the police to arrive. Officers used a taser on him after he resisted arrest, and he was taken into custody. Cole's wife accused the hotel and Stephen Evans/Freak, that is Roland's father, of negligence, saying both enabled and encouraged Roland, increasing the violent behavior. So here's what we have, Gary. This is both a criminal case and a civil case. The criminal case is the assault, and actually he beat him to death. He killed him. So you have a murder charge on Roland. Roland's charged with murder. He was arrested and charged with murder. The wife also sued. Now, that's a civil suit,
right.
Saying that because of neglect of both the hotel where they were staying and Roland's father. So let's deal with the hotel at first. Why would the hotel be held liable for the actions of Roland? And she said because they had received several complaints. They knew that he was a menace. Other people were complaining on it. He was living at this hotel. Papa was paying the bill, and he was living at this hotel, and he'd been kicked out of several hotels before this. After staying there for a while, they would kick him out, and there were complaints on him. They knew that he was a risk to the public, but yet they did not evict him and tell him, you can't stay here anymore. So she sued them, and before it went to court, they settled out of court. So they probably realized that we're not going to win this. We're not going to take a chance. They settled. She also sued his father. Well, why would the father of a 30-year-old be responsible for the 30-year-old's actions? And the thing is this. He'd been out of mental hospitals and institutions and so forth. And father was ultra rich because, he paid for the guy to live in these hotels. He would be kicked out of one because of the complaints. He would just put him in another one. He'd be kicked out of that one. He'd put him in another one. So Daddy knew what was going on. And here's the kicker, Gary. The lawsuit alleges that he gave his son substantial assistance and encouragement by continuing to pay for Roland's lodging, sending him food, sending him money, and other forms of support as his mental health worsened. And then not only did he do that, where's that at about him hiring a...
Hawk. Julian the Hawk.
Yeah, so he hired 3-time world champion boxer. This is his father, Stephen, hired Julian the Hawk Jackson for approximately a year. So, Gary, this world champion boxer was paid for a year to train Roland in boxing.
After knowing what he...
Yeah, this is like taking, a 3-year-old and giving him fireworks. We just had the 4th of July and saying, go out and have fun with these fireworks. Dad's responsible because of that. So, I can't say he's responsible. She sued saying that he's responsible for the actions of of his son, what he did. Here's the bottom line, man. This guy Roland beat this guy to death in his 60s.
Yeah.
Because he wanted his dog.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your dog. No, you're not having my dog. Oh, God just beat you to death.
Yeah.
Beat him, left, came back.
And
beat him some more. And people held him down. I'm surprised more people weren't hurt.
Me too.
Good for the people that held him down, because so many times people just record that and put it on Facebook.
Exactly.
They don't do anything else about it.
I know, that is what I thought too. It's like, how did they hold him down? Because then
there must have been
still
enough
he had to be tased.
I'm thinking that these people, like, oh my goodness, they just overcame him.
Yeah.
Good for the people that they did that.
Yeah, I agree.
So many times you see, and it's understandable. If you see one guy and a gang of people beating on a guy, what can you do? Some people will do something, but anyways, it was good that they did that. Roland has been charged with murder, assault, and robbery. So the assault charges are either against other people or against the officers, and also for robbery because he stole the dog. That's the robbery part. So, anyways, I just found that horrific.
That is very horrific.
So that's
horrible.
And if father knows about what was going on, I think there is some responsibility there.
I absolutely do. I think
not
that's
that it absolved Roland for what he did.
No,
he's responsible for what he did. But I think father's responsible for enabling.
And that's what I was just going to say, is that I don't think parents see it when what they're doing. They're trying to, they think, oh, I'm helping him. When you're enabling or doing detriment to your kid by helping them.
This goes to what you're talking about, what we talked about earlier at the opening of the show. You don't have to correct every wrong. When you're a dad, that's different. It's different. You need to correct children.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that your son or your daughter slips up and does a little something. That doesn't mean you have to drop, the hammer on them and, okay, you're on restriction for a month or, whatever. You know what? But you need to correct them.
Yeah.
They know, okay, yeah, I messed up. Yeah, you did. What do I have to do, Dad? Don't do it again.
Yep.
When they do it again, okay, there needs to be something. And one thing I remember when I was a young father, and I was, man, when do I punish and when do I don't? It was kind of like, and I got this advice from somewhere. I don't know where I got it. I don't know if I heard it. Somebody told it to me. I read it in a book. When it's intentional, rebellious disobedience, that needs to be corrected.
Mm-hmm.
When they forget to do something, people forget to do things.
Yeah.
When you get home, make sure you make your bed. Okay, Dad will do that. They get home, they're excited about something, they forget to make their bed. Did they come home, look at their bed, and say, I'm not making my stinking bed, and he can, fly a kite?
Maybe.
But maybe if they did that, then that needs to be punished. Like, oh, I'm sorry, Dad, I forgot. All right, go make it. Yes, sir, I'll do it. It's corrective behavior, and it's, okay, they forgot. We don't get punished for forgetting.
No.
But, and so, and if it's they're always forgetting. It's everything. Okay, well, maybe they knew. You need some correction because you need to get your priorities straight. If something's priority to you, you won't forget it. So, but so keep that in mind. Give your kids grace, but also discipline.
Yes.
Don't forget the discipline. And so that brings us to, we got time for that other story. This is kind of a short story. This is out of Sydney, Australia. Again, this comes from Law Enforcement Today by Gary Hoyt. According to authorities, a 24-year-old man who cannot be named due to a legal protection shielding the identities of children who are alleged victims in this crime. So you have a father with alleged victims. They were visiting Mr. Wong's. This is a restaurant in Sydney, Australia on June 21st, accompanied with his 1-year-old daughter. Staff at the establishment waived the man's bill, which equated to approximately $67, after he reportedly claimed that a faulty high chair made his daughter cry. So, Gary, get the picture here. You got a 24-year-old man with his 1-year-old daughter. He goes to a restaurant, gets a $67 bill. That's kind of expensive for a man and
two,
a 1-year-old. You know, that's pretty much by yourself, $67. And but he had her in a high chair, and he claimed that it was faulty and it made her daughter cry, so they comped the meal. Right? That's probably the good thing to do.
Yeah.
Well, the restaurant staff reviewed the video footage following the allegations made by the British national visiting Australia. And he contacted the police shortly thereafter with the claims that the man used a screw from the high chair to press it into the infant's leg in order to make her cry. So there you go. He like pinched her leg, rubbed it against the screw, or pushed it into the screw to make his daughter cry, inflicting pain to his daughter so he can get a free meal.
Deliberate.
That's ridiculous. The 24-year-old male was taken into custody. I'm so happy that the police followed up on this.
Me too.
They said, I mean, but think about it, Gary. You're a police officer, right? Like, get another stupid call for somebody walking a check.
Right.
You go over there, it's like, oh my goodness, this guy, this to his daddy.
Yeah, intentional harm.
I'm just guessing them police officers, probably one or two of them were parents. And even if you're not a parent, how could you do that? The unnamed suspect was reportedly charged with domestic violence and assault and obtaining a financial advantage by deception, according to authorities, and has since been granted conditional bail while awaiting his next appearance in court. The Daily Telegraph described the defendant as part of a troupe. You know what a troupe is? A Troupe.
No.
That's kind of like a group of people that travel around together.
Oh.
I thought, man, what is that? That's kind of a strange word for me.
Yeah.
From the United Kingdom, who reportedly travel around Australia in RVs. Further noting the unnamed defendant is known to use an alias abroad. So this guy's just a knucklehead.
Yeah.
He's got
Bad
a daughter.
dad.
Bad dad. A couple bad dad stories. That's too bad.
Yeah.
Not everybody has good fathers like you and I have been blessed to have. And I pray
absolutely.
That we are good fathers to our children.
Yes.
But hey, thanks for listening in. You can catch Cop Talk on all the popular podcast platforms. If you have a topic or question you want to address on Cop Talk, please send me an email. You can email suggestions, questions, comments, or complaints to coptalk@therev.fm. That's coptalk@therev.fm. Thought from the good book today. Fathers, don't provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. Thanks for joining us and helping to make the thin blue line a strong blue line.
Cop Talk is presented by the Strong Blue Line Foundation and sponsored by Moose Ridge Coffee in Snake River Landing, Idaho Falls. Questions and comments are always welcome by email to coptalk@therev.fm. Listen, follow, leave a review, and share this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or YouTube. And visit thestrongblueline.org to learn how you can be a supporter. Cop Talk is a Rev FM production, produced and edited by Gary Austin. Thank you for joining us on Cop Talk.